So by now you likely know that Donald Trump is scheduled to hold a rally tonight in South Dakota in front of Mount Rushmore, despite the fact that everyone knows it's unsafe to hold this rally. We saw what happened to Herman Cain in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the last Trump rally. But the Trump campaign, the organizers of this event, are actually being vindictive when it comes to the attendees to that event and protecting themselves. Jim Acosta from CNN tweeted the following out just a little bit ago. He says, "Many of the seats at Trump's speech tonight at Mount Rushmore are being zip-tied together, guaranteeing no social distancing for scores of people attending the event." And so what he's saying there basically is that the chairs at the event are going to be connected to one another so that they can't be moved. So that if there is smaller attendance than normally expected, which is what happened in Tulsa, people won't be able to spread themselves out as easily. That this is an outdoor event, and hypothetically at least, you can move the chairs around if the attendance is lower to at least allow people to distance a little bit. And Trump's campaign is preventing people from even that basic effort to stay safe. Look, you shouldn't be going anyway. You shouldn't be going, and I know there's going to be a lot of people there, and 99% of them likely won't be wearing masks, so I get it. This might not be the crowd that does social distancing in any case. But to not allow people to do it, as Jim Acosta is reporting, to basically prevent people from doing it, shows that Donald Trump, whatever he's now saying about masks sort of being cool because the Lone Ranger, it makes him look like the Lone Ranger or something of that sort, the fact is his campaign is still rooted, his movement is still rooted in a total denial of the science around this global health crisis. What causes it? What can prevent it? What can mitigate it? What should and shouldn't be done in terms of which businesses should be open and which large events should and shouldn't be held? The answer is no large events should be held. They're either totally oblivious to it, but I think much more sinister, they're actually fully aware of what's happening and they just don't care. They don't care about people's lives. And you could say that, they're also potentially doing this because at the last event, people spread out far too much. In the Tulsa, Oklahoma rally, there was so much space available that they're worried about people spreading out a little bit. They want as many people packed in to one tightly framed shot. And if the event isn't full, and if people, choose to sit with them and the people they came with in kind of little bubbles, and that means that there's a group of people here and a clump of people there, and there's a big group of seats empty in the middle of each row because people don't want to pass by one another, that's going to make Trump look bad. It's going to make his re-election chances look bad. It's going to give this narrative, much like it did in Tulsa, that Trump expecting these million-person crowds, the 40,000-person overflow arena full, that all of those things didn't happen, and that Trump is actually on a path to defeat. And all the enthusiasm Trump had in 2016, it doesn't seem to be as strong, as vibrant as it is in 2020. So I think that's a big factor here. If you don't let people move the chairs, if you don't let people spread out a little bit, you're creating a more likely scenario to get the good camera shot. Because again, an event in South Dakota isn't always going to draw a large crowd. It's a very low density populated state. This is all about the national image. It's all about Trump. Big crowd, what looks to be a big crowd, in front of Mount Rushmore, defending this symbol at a time where a lot of traditional American symbols are up for debate, and so Trump is staking his claim. I stand up for our statues, I stand up for our monuments, I stand up for our great American heroes, and who better than these four presidents behind me? They represent all the political parties, they represent the best of us, blah, 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 blah. That's the deal, right? That's the whole point here. I am here to make an image statement. But when you take that to the logical extent, what it means is I don't want people in my crowd to be sparse. I would rather them put their lives and health at risk. And of course, therefore, the lives and health at risk of everyone who they come in contact with who wasn't there tonight at Mount Rushmore in South Dakota at risk as well. So Trump, again, much like Tulsa, it's all about image. They got lucky in a limited sense, even though it probably still happened, that the smaller crowds limited the spread somewhat, maybe a little bit. But again, if they're trying to, by decree, by zip tie, by linking the chairs together, prevent people from spreading out just a little bit, it tells you what you need to know about Trump 2020, the man, his campaign, the Republican Party, the on-the-ground organizers. And this, of course, goes beyond Trump. The governor of South Dakota, local officials have refused to enforce any social distancing regulations. They've refused to enforce any sort of quota of people that could attend so that, even if you have to have the event, maybe you can have a smaller event where people can spread out. None of that is being enforced. This is a rally. It's a statement, not just about Mount Rushmore, not just about Trump's reelection. It's a statement in the championing of ignorance. It's a statement against science, public health knowledge and expertise, and all we hold dear when it comes to the rest of the developed world flattening the curve, while the United States overall, but especially red states, continues to see that curve rise and rise and rise and rise. And now there are more and more cases every day. And the biggest days for the United States are happening now in terms of total cases. Whereas countries like Canada, countries in Western Europe, all over Europe, really, countries in much of Asia, they've already had their peaks. And now they're very, very, very far from those daily highs in terms of people being affected. The United States is an outlier. It's a pariah. And it comes down to a lot of factors, certainly the lack of universal health care. But one major definitive role is Donald Trump and his movement in his campaign, not only saying that the science is unsettled, but taking an active hostile stance against basic public health procedures. And that's what you're seeing tonight, or that's what you're going to see tonight in South Dakota. And guys, without hyperbole, this vindictive decision from Trump 2020, it's going to cost somebody at least their life.